Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we're going to do an episode of favorites, kind of a sequel to the last one we did, which was 25 rock radio burnouts. This one is going to be 25 songs that were played extensively by rock radio, so a lot of rock radio play, but they didn't burn out. So 25 songs that didn't burn out from rock radio. Now I'm not putting this in any particular order because it's not that I like this song or that song more, it just hasn't burned out from overplay. So I've got 25 of them today. I haven't put them in any particular order, but we're going to talk about all 25 of them. So from the first guy is going to be from David Bowie. Yeah, this is a kind of a best of Bowie hit. I don't actually own the album with the song on it that I'm thinking of. And the song in this case is called Fashion. For most of you who have heard this song, and I'm sure you all have, it starts out with that and then just really killer track. Almost kind of I wouldn't say it's kind of a dance song, I guess, in some ways. Definitely a new wave-ish type song in a lot of ways too. But just a great tune that even though I've heard it a million times on the radio, I still love it. The next song up comes from this album, from Supertramp's Crime of the Century. Had to have at least one song from that on there. And of course, it's going to be School. This is a song that's vastly overplayed everywhere you go, but for some reason I didn't quite get the burnout of it. I still love to hear the song. I think I got off the radio before it really took hold for me. So Supertramp's School from their Crime of the Century album. Next up, from Pink Floyd, we've got Time. Probably my favorite Floyd song. Definitely overplayed in every venue you can think of, but for some reason it never loses its magic with me. Just, I don't know what it is. There's something kind of emotionally charging about this track. The guitar and Gilmour's voice, absolutely killer on this. So Time, one of those songs, I guess you could go, if you want to say it, it's number 23, so we'll just go backwards. Number 22, Unchained from Van Halen. Fantastic tune on a fantastic album. Never loses any kind of energy with me. I still love it. I love that ripping guitar sound at the beginning. So we're going to go back. We'll do I got them on the board. I'll just go by what I've written. So for number 21 is War Pigs from Black Sabbath's Paranoid. Yes, vastly overplayed song. Well, most of this album is pretty much overplayed. You could have picked anybody. But this one, for some reason, unlike Iron Man and Paranoid, doesn't suffer that burnout that they did. Next up is a song by this band, which is vastly overplayed. Probably one of the most overplayed Yes songs yet. I love it. Roundabout, still one of my favorite songs, still getting lots of airplay from me. Next up, from an album that I don't listen to much because most of these tracks I just don't care for as much as I once did, but for some reason, even though I didn't like this song initially, it's grown on me and I still like it a lot, even though it's played too much. Subdivisions from Rush's Signals album. Next up, we'll say it's 18. This is from an album that took me a long time really to love. I now absolutely love it, and this is one of the reasons I do. Sweet Madam Blue off of Styx's Equinox album. A song that's played a ton, but it's maybe not as overplayed as some other songs, but definitely overplayed a little bit. Next up, from arguably one of the most overplayed albums ever, The Police's Regatta de Blanc. We're going to go with Message in a Bottle here. Probably my favorite, or pretty close to my favorite Police song, if it isn't. Given Day, depends on what it is. Overplayed a lot, but still love it a lot. It's for the Police, it's a heavy song. Next up, from the Stones, I like this version, the live version, better. Jumpin' Jack Flash, killer track. Definitely overplayed, one of those 4 or 5 Stone songs that just gets airplay like no tomorrow. But I love it anyways. It's still a great tune. From one of my favorite albums of all time. For a long time, it was my favorite album. Triumph, It's Just a Game. Lay It on the Line. Probably the most overplayed song on this album, but still one of the greatest rock songs, I think, of all time. Next up, so we'll say, what is this? We'll say that this is number 14 from Blue Oyster Cult. Yes, none other than Don't Fear the Reaper. If any BOC song is overplayed, it's Don't Fear the Reaper. But I still love it. It's still catchy as hell. I still love to hear it. I just think there's something quite different about it than any other song that I can think of that is overplayed. Then you've got from this album, so we did do a BTO one for the other thing that was burned out, was Taking Care of Business. Don't care to hear that anymore. But You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. That song is a totally different ball game. I do love it quite a bit. Play it as often as I'm able to. I don't own the album that this particular track is on. However, I do really like this song a lot, and that's Roller from April Wine. Yes, probably one of their most overplayed tracks, but hasn't burned out with me. Probably never will at this stage. One of the most overplayed debut songs in history. More Than a Feeling from Boston's debut album. Yes, definitely overplayed. Is it one of the greatest tracks ever written? Absolutely. It's been played to death, but I still love it. There's something fantastic about Brad Death's voice on that just captures your imagination. Next up, this is maybe not as overplayed as some of the other ones, but it is one of his overplayed songs. Crosstown Traffic from Jimi Hendrix off of this Electric Ladyland album. Let's see, what else are we up to now? So we've got from this album, which is, I think I've got it on the list as number 9, Somebody to Love, one of their greatest hits, one of my favorite Queen songs off of A Day in the Races. Fantastic song, fantastic album. Is it overplayed? Yeah, probably overplayed for sure, but not as overplayed as some of their stuff, but I still like it a lot. Next up from The Sweet, Fox on the Run, definitely the most overplayed Sweet song, but still love it. There's something absolutely incredible about that song. It just captures the imagination and fires me up every time. Here's another song from Aerosmith's Day at the... this is Toys in the Attic, Day at the Races. Yeah, right. They would have liked to have written that album, eh? Would have made all that money. Walk This Way. Definitely one of the most overplayed Aerosmith songs, one of the most overplayed rock songs. A lot of people hate this tune. It just makes them cringe. But for some reason, it's got that kind of rappy sound to it. I'm not a rap fan either, but I do really like the catchiness of that song. Next up from AC/DC, I don't know if this song is really considered a rock radio hit over Burnout song. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I know it every time I seem to turn the radio on, it's playing. But I love it. Whole Lot of Rosie. Yeah, I love the video that goes with it too. Such a fantastic, great written song. Next is probably the most overplayed Priest song, or one of the two. Turbo Lover might be the other one. That's a song that definitely burned out. But this one, Living After Midnight. I know a lot of people hate this track, think that it's overplayed. It doesn't represent Priest very well, but I love it, and it's on my list of songs that haven't been burned out from overplay. Next up, from the Beatles, George Harrison vocaled Here Comes the Sun. The cover of this is missing. I don't know where it went, but anyways, so Here Comes the Sun from the Beatles. Overplayed. Well, what Beatles song really isn't overplayed, but I love it still anyways. And the last three, from Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti, Kashmir. One of those Led Zeppelin songs that is beaten to death on radio, rock radio, and everywhere you go on internet, all that. But it's such an absolutely incredible tune. I never wear out on it. Maybe I will someday. Sometimes I think I'm wearing out on it, but not too much. This album, Who's Next? The whole album is probably worn out. But Baba O'Reilly does not lose it with me. I put this album on. It's the first track I hear. Such an incredible song. One of their greatest, I think. So Baba O'Reilly, that's number 2. And number 1 on the list, by virtue of me putting it on the list first, comes from War Child, Bungle in the Jungle. Love it. It was the first Jethro Tull song that really stuck with me and I really liked, and I still like it, even though every time I turn on the radio and they're going to play some Jethro Tull, it's either this or Aqualung almost all the time. And they're probably both overplayed, but one of them I don't like. This one I do like. So there you have it. 25 rock radio songs that didn't suffer the same fate or the same burnout fate as the other ones. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was kind of fun to put together. I'm not taking it too seriously. Could have done 100 songs here that haven't burned out from rock radio, but I narrowed it down to just 25 of more notable songs that everybody would probably likely know and understand why it should be burned out, but it isn't. So there you have it. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Don't forget to hit the notification bell above my head here. Ring my bell, as they say. And you can put your comments in the comment section below. Are any of these songs burned out? Do you love them all as much as me? Or do some of them absolutely make you cringe when you hear them? Let me know. Take care and have a good night. Yours truly, Prog Monster.